I cheated, and not with just one man, it was with 10 different men. I know that sounds like a lot, but I was on vacation. I admit I was wrong, and I shouldn't have done it. But there were 3 of us women, alone and ready to have fun. In the end, all of us cheated. Nobody knows about this. 4 months ago, I went on vacation with my girlfriends to Playa del Carmen. The plan was to spend a week there, just us girls. Relaxing, having fun, meeting men. We didn't go with our husbands. But none of us planned on cheating, at least not in the beginning. All 3 of us were in relationships. Me especially. I had always been faithful. Always. I had never cheated on my husband. I had never lied to him. I had never lived a double life. I was the kind of woman who proudly said she would never do something like that. Until we got there. There's something special about Playa del Carmen. I don't know if it's the heat, the beaches, the alcohol, or the feeling that nobody knows you and nobody is going to judge you. From the very first day, I felt different. Freer. More uninhibited. As if my husband didn't exist and I was single for 7 days. That's how it all started. Men everywhere. Tall men. Dark-haired men. Blonde men. Americans. Fit bodies. Beautiful smiles. The looks. There were men everywhere to choose from, and I'll admit it, it drove me crazy. I wasn't used to feeling so desired, so noticed, so wanted. It was like walking around knowing someone was definitely going to look at me, or try to talk to me. On the first day, we arrived at the hotel, dropped off our suitcases, and went out that same night. We didn't even rest. We got ready fast, loud music, laughter, sexy pictures, drinks before going out. We wanted to enjoy the night. We were 3 single-looking women on vacation, and we wanted to meet men. The nightclub was packed. Men and women everywhere. Lights, loud music, alcohol. We started dancing the moment we walked in. At some point, I stopped thinking about my husband. I decided not to think about him anymore. I just wanted to enjoy myself and have fun. It wasn't that I didn't care about my husband, but while I was there, I wanted to live in the moment. Even if that meant cheating. That's when it started. The first man. Tall, dark-haired, and incredibly handsome. We started talking with instant chemistry. One drink led to another. We danced. We laughed. He looked at me like he really wanted me. And I let it happen. That night, I didn't go back to the apartment with my friends. I went back to his place. I thought I would feel guilty or regret it. But I didn't. I felt comfortable. Free. It was an unforgettable night. Before falling asleep, I told myself it had only been for one night. A crazy vacation moment. Something women do sometimes. Something that would never happen again. My husband wasn't there, and I wanted to take advantage of that freedom. The next day at the beach, my friends looked at me with playful smiles. They didn't ask questions. But they knew what had happened. One thing became clear between us: whatever happened there, stayed there. None of us would tell. None of us would judge. Girl code. And that's when everything spiraled out of control. Because it wasn't just that one night. On the second day, I met another man. Different. Blonde. From Brazil. And that drove me crazy because he was gorgeous. Until that trip, I never realized I could attract so much attention from men. Once again, I cheated. The third day, it happened again. And the fourth day too. Every single day, I met a different man. Every single day, I cheated again. I didn't stop for a moment. It was insane. I wasn't looking for love. I just wanted to enjoy my vacation. It was pure pleasure. That's what I had gone there for, to enjoy myself. To feel good. To live something I knew would never happen again. I convinced myself I wasn't hurting anyone, because my husband wasn't there, because he would never find out, because that wasn't my real life. Every morning I woke up happy, smiling, making myself a promise that the next one would be the last. And every night I broke that promise all over again. Playa del Carmen gave me endless excuses. Beautiful men. Alcohol. Music. Heat. Anonymity. And I took every single one of them. I kept telling myself it wasn't a big deal, that it was only 1 week, that afterward everything would go back to normal. But it still wasn't over. And the worst part hadn't even happened yet. By the 5th day, I stopped making promises to myself. I just enjoyed it. I woke up to sunshine, new messages on my phone, new plans. The beach, drinks, laughter, stolen glances, everything felt perfect. I smiled all the time. I was genuinely happy. Never before had I met so many different men in such a short time. Never before had I felt this way. The 5th guy was different from the others. A young guy, much younger than me. He looked at me like he knew exactly what I was looking for there. And by then, I wasn't pretending to be innocent anymore. I wasn't acting surprised anymore. I was on vacation to enjoy myself, and that's exactly what I was doing. No guilt. No stopping. No thinking about my husband. Then came the 6th. It was easy by that point. Everything happened naturally. I wasn't thinking about cheating anymore, or about days passing, or consequences. I was just living in the moment. I kept telling myself I had spent years married to the same person, stuck in the same routines, bored, living a quiet life. Playa del Carmen was the perfect chaos. The kind of freedom I had never allowed myself before. I felt like I deserved it. My friends were the same way. Each one with her own adventures, her own hookups, her own guilty laughter when we returned to the apartment at night. We would look at each other and know these vacations were unforgettable. Not because of what we would tell later, but because of what we would never tell. The 7th time wasn't planned. None of them really were, if I'm being honest, but that one felt different. That morning, I woke up with a strange feeling, like everything that had happened was already done and there was no going back anymore. I wasn't nervous. My hands didn't shake anymore. I felt completely free. I met him at the hotel during breakfast. One look, one short conversation, and that silent game that only exists when two people know exactly what they're doing, and still choose to continue. A few hours later, the 8th affair happened that same day. Another man. Another voice. From another country. And me, the same unrecognizable woman. I wasn't blaming the alcohol or my friends anymore. I was choosing it. Choosing to keep cheating. I remember thinking, I'm already here. What difference does one more make? I knew the trip was almost over, and part of me wanted to finish it somehow. It sounds horrible to say out loud, but that's exactly how I felt. It was the last day. I knew I had to make the most of it, this would be my final chance. After that, everything would go back to normal. That night we went to another nightclub. It was full of men. I had plenty to choose from. And like always, I cheated again. But not there. That night, I went back to the apartment of two strangers I had met at the club. It was the grand finale. I left Playa del Carmen with a smile I couldn't wipe off my face. I met 10 men in 7 days. It was a week I'll never forget. I came home with sun-kissed skin and my head full of memories. Images. I went back to my life. Back to my husband. Back to our routine. And everything seemed calm again. Or at least, that's what I thought. The first 2 weeks were normal. I felt calm. Certain that what had happened was behind me. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't regret what I had done. I told myself it had just been a trip, a crazy girl's vacation, something that would never have consequences. Until it did. At first, it was just a small feeling. A late period. Nothing serious. I told myself it could happen. Stress, routine changes, the trip. I searched for explanations. But the days kept passing, and my peace of mind slowly disappeared. I took the first test more to calm myself down than out of fear. When I saw the result, negative, I felt relieved. I even laughed at myself. I thought I was overreacting. But the delay continued. A week later, I took another test. And that's when everything changed. Positive. I sat there in the bathroom staring at the test like it couldn't possibly be real. Like someone else was holding it. I felt hot. Cold. Everything at once. My heart racing. My hands shaking. Karma, I thought. Maybe that was it. Maybe life doesn't let certain things go so easily. I was pregnant. And my husband had no idea. I didn't tell him anything. I still didn't know how. I still didn't know what to say. Because the worst part wasn't just the pregnancy. The worst part was that I didn't know who the father was. 10 men. 10 possibilities. I was in trouble. I looked at myself in the mirror, and I no longer saw the cheating woman smiling in Playa del Carmen. I saw someone trapped between betrayal and consequences. It had been a chain of terrible decisions. I made a huge mistake, or rather, several huge mistakes, and now I had to face them. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know whether to tell the truth or stay silent. I didn't know if this pregnancy would bring something together or destroy everything completely. All I knew was that the smile I had during those vacations had disappeared entirely. Every night, I lay in bed replaying dates, days, and memories in my head. Trying to find an answer. Something that could tell me who the father was. But I couldn't. Everything blurred together. Everything became confusing. And that was the scariest part of all. I wouldn't wish that feeling on anyone.